The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God is shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friday A Course in Miracles group. We're happy to have you here. We're happy to be here, and we're back from Las Vegas, and many of you that we were with in Las Vegas are here, and wasn't that a great time last year? Yeah, that was a great time. So the next Course in Miracles conference that Tony's going to put on is going to be in San Francisco in 2018, and I think we haven't sold them, but we've reserved about 10 tickets, and I think some of you have already bought them from Tony already. And if you are interested, or if you guys online are interested in getting a discounted ticket, I think they're $549, but we have them for $499 if you're interested in getting. We have 10 left. We took 20. So if anybody wants those tickets, they're available. That's the only announcement I'm going to give until after the live streaming is over. But we're so happy to have everyone here this morning, and we're going to be blessed to have a song from Elaine's guy and our friend Louis. So everyone, please welcome Louis. I have a mic for you here. I have this mic so that you can sing, and I have another mic to do your guitar.
He always asks me, what's your last name again? I have a long Italian last name. Just Louis is fine. And I remember, like, on my 9th birthday, I got a birthday card, and it told me the meaning of my name. That sounds good. That sounds like I'd like to do that. So, a declarer of God. That's what Louis is. The last name is Consolatory. Right? Hey, like, hey, what is it? Consigliere, everybody gets it. But Louis, declarer of God. Isn't that what this course is trying to get all of us to do? Is just be a declarer of God. So, I love this Sanskrit word, Namaste. The divine in me honors the divine in you. So I wanted to write a song about that. This beautiful, wondrous spirit of Namaste. So, here we go. Namaste. Hello, mama, namaste. She's blessing me, say yeah to the way, let's play. Hello, mama, namaste. Embrace the grace. See beyond the dream. Not what it seems, what does it mean? Inspiring eyes, they lies. But the womb of truth it holds me still. Namaste. Hello, mama, namaste. She's blessing me, say yeah to the way, let's play. Hello, mama, namaste. What a place, embrace the grace. Love your fellow man. Understand we walk hand in hand. So powerful yet so tranquil. Gentle mama, namaste. She's blessing me, say yeah, to the way, let's play. Hello, mama, namaste. Embrace the grace. Visionary, missionary, one solution, one conclusion, it lies on the altar of spirit. Appearances, they come, they go. More than judging, friend or foe, the force of love, we can always be met. My sister and my brother, do you know there ain't no other? Can't you see that when you're free, there ain't no thee and me? Before you even say hello, repeat, I love you so. Reaching for the inner chorus, what your life is for. Shout, namaste, your soul's fiancé. Well, hello, Yahweh, a bit, parade if I communicate. Not naive, I'd say. So we pray today, say okay, every day. Namaste. Hello, mama, namaste. Hello, mama, namaste. Hello, mama, namaste. Hello, mama, namaste.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Lewis. That was fantastic. And I love your energy, man. Wow. I could do that. You want to open us in prayer? I was going to open in prayer and then. Okay. So I'm just going to open in prayer if you guys want to just get comfortable for a second. And we just want to now bring that inspiration, bring that excitement, just bring it down into just this quiet place. Just bring it into the heart. And we're ready to just be open to the self, open to our guide, open to the peace, open to the love, open to the joy that was even expressed from that song. And we come together in joy. We come together because we know that love is real. Love is real in our experience, in our heart. We found it to be the truth of our nature and what we are. And we invite our holy self, the Holy Spirit, the divine love that we are, to preside, to be present right now in this day, in this place, and in our open mind, open heart. Thank you. We're grateful. Divine Father, Mother, God, the self that we are. And so it is. Amen. Well, it's my pleasure and my honor to invite Lisa Natoli to join, to share with us. Actually, it's going to be Lisa and Judy this morning. I can't wait to hear what Judy has to share. Judy is our first staff person for the Teachers of God Foundation. And she came on as a volunteer, and we're so blessed to have her she's the customer service. She's a frontline person for the foundation, and everybody that meets Judy gets, you guys are lucky you don't get me first, because you wouldn't like it so much to get me first. She is the gentle spirit. She's the soft front line of the foundation, and she speaks in a way that I don't speak, and I'm grateful to have her to speak for the foundation the way she does. But without further ado, just everyone please give a warm welcome to Lisa Natoli.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Lewis. Oh, my God. Always awesome. Actually not going to teach so much today myself. I really was just feeling I want to bring Judy on, and Judy really did come from out of nowhere, and she reminded us of the story last night. She's from Los Angeles, and she did the 40-day program, the first one that was, I think it was the second one that was offered, actually. It was in August 2011? No, 12 maybe. And I had no contact with her, and then Bill and I we're getting married here at Unity on the River, and the way we roll is we like to always invite everyone. That's just kind of the way we like to do it. And we thought, okay, how are we going to do that? And we decided to live stream our wedding. And so Judy, watched our wedding live stream, and we still hadn't had contact with each other. And she told me last night that she actually had sent me a message, but I hadn't responded yet. And she couldn't understand why. Now she understands why, because I'm not real fast on the emails. But she watched that wedding live stream, and she just felt so much love from everyone who came here, from the love that Bill and I have and just extend with each other as friends and partners. And Axel was here. You guys remember Axel? And Judy told Axel to give me a hug from Judy from Los Angeles, and that made me go find that email. And it was so over the top, like, oh my God, my life is totally transformed by the 40-day program. I just want to serve. I want to help in any way I can, and I want to do it for free. And it was at a time when the foundation had no money. Like, I was working just out of service myself, and an act of trust and love, and I didn't want the money even. And so when she came along, I remember exactly where I was. I remember being in Hampton in my office and going into the living room where Bill was, and I'm like, oh my God, listen to this letter. I never received a letter like that before. It was so just her heart pouring out of herself of like, I'm just here available. I don't even know what you need, but I'm just here. And I wrote you back, and I don't remember exactly what happened next, but you did come on to help. I remember we had a Skype call, and then from there it was like money came in. And that's to me what A Course in Miracles is all about, is you step in and then the physical changes to support the thing that's happening. And Judy felt like, okay, I'm working for the foundation now. She's not getting paid. We haven't offered any money. But she says, I'm working, and she didn't have much money at the time either. She raises 3 children alone, a single mom. And she went out to Staples and bought all sorts of office supplies because she thought, I'm working now. This is my job. I'm going to need supplies. And what she told me was she saved the receipt in case she had to bring, in case like that decision was a mistake. She wanted to make sure she could get the money back. And she caught the thought, because that's the mind training of A Course in Miracles. You see where you're still sitting on the fence, where you're compromising. And she said, no, I'm not going to need this receipt. I work for the Teachers of God Foundation. And she ripped up that receipt and threw it away. And she didn't tell us that story. I didn't know that story. And I don't know where the money came from, probably from all you guys, so thank you so much for the generosity of your heart. But we suddenly had money to hire Judy. And we hired her, and it's been amazing. She really is our front person. She's taught me how to trust, because I'm somebody who worked in New York for 12 years, A personality. No one can do it better than Lisa. I'm going to do it by myself. And I needed to learn. You're an A personality too, so you're laughing over there. And you've changed. But I knew, because I was the one that was handling all the emails. I thought, they're writing to me. They need me. And I needed to let that go. It was like, no, this is a Teachers of God Foundation. This is not the Lisa Natoli Foundation. It's not the Bill Free Foundation. It's not the Bill and Lisa Foundation. It's a Teachers of God Foundation. And that's been something we've been really serious about since the beginning. And we knew that in the beginning, though, it did need a front person. Like in the beginning, it was me. And Judy came on board, and the emails suddenly from the 40-day program, we were getting hundreds of emails every week. And I couldn't physically handle them. And I started to say, okay, I want you to start to answer the emails. And I did not want her to answer them as me. And at first she was. In the beginning, you were answering them as me. And it's not working. You have to be yourself. And so it's been amazing to me to really see what it's like to just trust. And then as every staff member came on, it's been the same. It's like, okay, just give them the full authority to do the work that they're here to do. And so today, we brought her in for we have a team meeting, just to kind of get together and talk about next projects. And Judy's been talking a lot about kindness. And Ken Wapnick has some talks on kindness, and she told me about these books that she's going to share from today, how many Course in Miracles students and teachers use Course concepts to attack themselves and others. So somebody will say, I'm sick, I have cancer, and somebody with a Course in Miracles will tell you, it's an illusion. You're doing it to yourself. Why are you doing that to yourself? Get over, And Ken Wapnick has talks on this. And what's amazing is since Judy told me about this, we went to Las Vegas, and David Hoffmeister up on a stage starts talking about Ken Wapnick's talks on kindness. Last Sunday, Michael Murdad is talking about Ken Wapnick's talks on kindness. It's like something's happening right now where I feel like this is the place where all of us now are stepping into this place of what did Jesus really teach? He didn't teach judge and condemn your brother and correct him. He teaches love and kindness. He teaches love God with all your heart and your soul and your neighbor as yourself. So it is my great privilege to introduce Judy Morton.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Oh, good. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that introduction, and Bill. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm nervous as hell. It's like, I thought I was nervous writing a blog, and that's like at home on my computer. But I'm excited to be here because I feel like our community at Teachers of God is just growing like crazy. And I don't know, I was thinking about these kindness books, and I have such a wonderful friend. I know that a lot of you guys know her from Facebook. Her name is Kath Menegon. She's in Australia, and she's done the Teachers of God programs, Living in Purpose. She's a licensed practitioner, and she heard about these books by Kenneth Wapnick, these tiny little books that are really easy to read, that have a lot of his talks in them. And she wrote to me on Facebook about it, and so I ordered the first book about kindness, and I just thought, I think I want to talk about this because I'm really having it come up in a lot of areas of my life where I have people that I meet and that I see and that I talk to, and sometimes I don't quite know what to say. Like, I feel like I've done all this training, all this reading, all this studying, but like they say, you don't really, really get it until you really teach it and until you live it. And I found myself that when I was presented with somebody that was sick or somebody that, was going through some kind of sadness or suffering, that I would just sometimes was freezing up, like, okay, I don't want to say a whole bunch of things about the Course necessarily because they're going to think that I'm telling them that they're wrong or something. So my talk today, I wanted to talk about first the vibratory power of words, and that's going to lead into my talk about kindness. So.
Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
I'm going to turn your mic off.
Oh, okay, it's not quite loud enough. Okay.
So,
Hello.
yeah, just use that.
Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm in Vegas or
So
something.
if you
Okay.
need a mic stand?
No, this is fine. Yeah, I'll just put it by my mouth. Okay. So Lisa talks about in the 40-day program the vibratory power of words, and that term has become so important to me. And I made up a little acronym for it, and it's called VPOW, which stands for Vibratory Power of Words. And my poor kids, because now I'm using it on them, they'll say something, and I'll be like, VPOW. So, and they're like, weirdo, like the big, yeah. So I love to tell stories because I think stories help us to get to know that person a little bit more deeply. And I'm going to tell my story about VPOW and how it's come. What I found is that as my awareness grows And as what I feel like my awakening is happening, the things that I say and bring into my awareness are starting to happen. Like it's happening. I don't know if any of you guys are noticing this, but it's almost scary. It's like I'll say something, just saying it, and then a little while later it's happening. So it's really caused me to really think about what I'm saying, but it really goes even beyond that, is to really think about what I'm thinking, right? Because before those words ever come out of my mouth, they're already in my mind. So a lot of you have heard about Gus, the love of my life, that I met through A Course in Miracles, through the programs at the Teachers of God Foundation. We both have done the Living in Purpose program, and I met him, and I really thank Lisa and Bill a lot for this kind of love coming into my life, because I really, after I got divorced about 5 years ago, I really had made a decision that I was not going to have a partner again in my life. I just thought, I'm going to focus on my kids, I'm going to focus on God, and I'm going to chase God, and that would be a lot less painful. That's really how I felt. I just thought, you know what, I don't want to bring somebody else into my life and have my kids kind of go through what you go through, you know what I mean, like a step parent or anything like that. I truly wasn't looking for a partner. I never went on a date. I didn't go on a dating website. I just thought it just wasn't in my vision for that. But deep down inside, I really, truly did want to meet somebody, and I really did want to share my life with somebody else that was also on a spiritual path. That was something that really meant a lot to me. And Lisa and Bill and the love that they have for each other was a huge inspiration for me. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. They are best friends. And it's like, and I know you guys have seen them together. It's like the kind of energy that they share between each other and the vision that they have for awakening everybody it's palpable. So I'm really grateful for it. So as I got to know Gus, just on Skype, we had talked a couple of times after he did the Living in Purpose program. I contacted him because he wanted to see if there was anything he could do within the foundation to volunteer and maybe be on the prayer team, or just to see if there might be a fit for him, because he's a chef. He's like, I don't know where I could fit. I'm a chef. So we got to talking, and one day, I don't know, we just kept in touch. Every couple of months we would send each other a text message. One day I just all of a sudden just made this decision. Something just came into my mind, and I just thought, I really love this man. I really, truly am in love with him. And I contacted Lisa on Skype, and I'm like, I have a huge crush on someone. And she's like, what? Who? And I'm like, it's Gus. And she's like, you have to tell him. She got like right into the camera. You must tell him. And I'm like, oh, no. He's going to think I'm a nut job. Like, I live like, almost 2,000 miles away. I'm in California. I've got 3 kids, like, red flag, right? So I just thought, but through courage and through faith, everything really did work out. And I finally just got up the nerve, and you're going to laugh, because the first time I decided to tell him that I had feelings for him, I chickened out at the last minute, and I'm like, I just want you to know that Lisa and Bill and I think you're amazing. We just think you are so wonderful. And he was like, oh, thanks, that's great. He's like, okay. And then I talked to Lisa and Bill about it, and they were also on Skype. They were out in California at an event, and they both got right into the camera. And Lisa looked at me and she said, do not backpedal. Do not be afraid. You have to just go for it. You have to say how you feel. And Bill said the same thing. He said, if you have any reservations, if you have any fear whatsoever, then you need to put it all on the altar. You just have to make that decision, and you need to do it. And so I did. And so I contacted him again. I'm like, okay, I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but I really wasn't telling you the whole story. I said, I really have feelings for you. So we've been together for about 1.5 years, and about 7 months ago, he moved to California. So he's in California now, and that's another story I'll tell on a blog, because how that all came to be, there's no question that there was complete divine intervention for that to happen. But so I want to go into my story about VPOW. So here, Gus is in California. He's been there. He'd only been there, for a short period of time. And I thought, I want to show him every beautiful thing that's out there, every beautiful place, every gorgeous restaurant that's on the water, on the coast. So I drove him up to Laguna Beach, which is just about 15 minutes from where I live. And they have this place called the Top of the World. And it's this huge, huge hill. It just goes on. And you go up and you literally feel like you're on top of the world. Giant hills that are like in San Francisco, gorgeous homes, gorgeous views. So we're driving all around up and down the hills. And I said, God, I would hate for my brakes to go out. This is like major hills in this place. And we're like, just in. He's an amazing driver. He's been driving in Chicago for years, and so here I am driving. I don't know if that I'm the best driver. And I was just, I was nervous. I was nervous. Well, wait till you see what happened. So I said a couple of other times, I'm like, geez, if you live up here, you got to have really good brakes. You got to make sure you have your car checked and that your brakes are working because there are such steep hills, and they just go right off the edge of a cliff. So I'm like saying this, a couple times. We're going all around. All of a sudden, we start going down the hill, and we smell something burning. I'm like, what is that? We get further down the hill, and I'm really having to brake, and we hear grinding in the brakes. And I'm like, that is the strangest. And I had just had my brakes checked. I had my oil changed. They check all that stuff. They said how much, room I had left on the pads, and my brakes were not wearing out. I wasn't pushing the limit or anything, which I had done in the past. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's seriously something going on with my brakes. Like they're burning. So we parked the car and we went and had dinner at this really nice restaurant. And I said, will you drive home, but will you be really careful? Because I'm scared. I just thought. But I started talking to him like, isn't that interesting about the fact that I was saying that? Oh, what if, what if, what if? I hope this doesn't happen. Just by speaking that, it's putting it out there. It's putting those words out into the universe, right? Well, I had my brakes checked the next day, and they said they were absolutely fine. There was no problem with my brakes. There was a rock that had gotten stuck in one of the rotors, and that was where the grinding was coming from and that burning smell. So everything was fine. But I just thought it was such a good example for myself of how quickly we can get lost in just making an off-the-cuff statement about something, and it really does go out there. So I wanted to share about that. So the next part I wanted to talk about, I wanted to read a little something from lesson 125. And it says, in quiet, I receive God's word today. Let this day be a day of stillness and of quiet listening. Your Father wills you hear his word today. He calls to you from deep within your mind where he abides. Hear him today. No peace is possible until his word is heard around the world. Until your mind is quiet, listening, accepts the message which the world must hear to usher in the quiet time of peace. I love that, the quiet time of peace. And that's something that I just wrote about recently on one of my blogs also, was about, how do you really find the peace of God? And that's something that's become really important to me. And so this kind of, the vibratory power of words goes into my next section that I wanted to talk about, and that's this little book from Ken Wapnick. And what he says in it, he said, it is all too easy to deal with the anxiety engendered when you are with someone in pain by quoting A Course in Miracles. A nice way of saying hitting them over the head with the blue book. I love that. How many times have I done that? How many times have you guys done that? Its principles of help and healing then become subtle and sometimes not so subtle ways of passing judgment and attacking others. I have said many times that when you have a problem or are sick or in trouble, the last person you should call is a course student. I thought that was hysterical that he said that. The last person you would call, I thought we would be the first. Unless that person is well trained, the last person you should go to for psychotherapy is a course student. And I think what he was trying to say is, I know what he was trying to say is that first and foremost is to be kind. And I think that is what sets the Teachers of God Foundation apart from some of the other groups that and many of the other groups that I've seen are amazing and wonderful, and I love the teachings, but there's something about the practicality in the way that Lisa and Bill teach that is so important because they're actually teaching us through the course how to apply these lessons in our daily life. And I heard Diedrich Wolzak speak when he was in New York, another course teacher that I love. And somebody was asking him specifically about a quote in the course, and he was asking him to really explain it. And he said, "I'm not a course scholar." And I've wanted to be, like, thinking I need to become a course scholar. I've really got to get this. I need to memorize it. I need to be able to recite it and just pull from that course whenever it's needed. Even though I know how important it is to read it and to understand it, all I have to remember to do is to be kind. That's all that I have to do. And then what will come is, as long as I'm turning everything over to the Holy Spirit, what will actually come will be the perfect thing to say. So that's kind of a relief for me. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's kind of a relief thinking, because I just kept reading all this material and trying to memorize it and trying to get it right. And so what he says next is, what course students, he said, would say to people is, "What do you mean your mind isn't healed yet? I thought you were a good course student. I thought you believed that this world is an illusion. Come, let us pray or meditate so you can be restored to your right mind." I can't tell you how many times that I've heard that, like, you're not getting it. Like, you need to understand that none of this is real. And even though I know that all of this is true, there can be moments in our life where all we really need to do is to just be a friend to somebody and to be kind to them and to offer that kind of gift, that stillness. And I've learned some great things from Bill about being quiet and being still. He's brought in a lot of practices about really just going deep and going inside and really just listening for the truth. And I'm so grateful for that. So this is where I'm sorry that I'm reading this, but I just wanted to make sure I got it right. This is where we can stop ourselves and the mind where he abides. Hear him today. No peace is possible until his word is heard around the world. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. This is what I get for reading it. Okay. This is where we can stop ourselves and make this statement. I am only here to be truly helpful. So those are that's the course words, but that's not Ken talking in his book, that's me. And I said, what I wanted to say is that I believe that there's a way to have empathy for somebody and not join them in the story. Because that's what a lot of people are nervous about, where they'll say, if I acknowledge the pain that this person is feeling and the suffering that it seems to be that they're going through in this moment, if I get too deep down into their story, I'm going to join with them in it and I'm going to make it true. And I know that's true, that we can't actually do that. But what we can do is that we can truly be there for that person and just listen. And I remember when my dad passed away, I was heartbroken. I was in the Living in Purpose program. I was only 3 weeks in, and my dad passed away. And I was so upset. And I thought, God, I have all this studying that I've been doing, and I've been claiming that I'm this teacher of God and that I'm really got this. And I thought, okay, and there is no death. And I'm like, yes, there is. Like, he's gone. Like, it just was like a huge surprise to me and to all of us when he had a heart attack and he died very suddenly. And I remember talking to Lisa on Skype, and I was embarrassed for her to see me cry. I was embarrassed for her to not see me being strong. I was trying to be spiritual. And she's like, tell me about your dad. And I just like, wah, you know what I mean? And she said something that was so beautiful. She said, are you kidding me? If my dad died, I would be freaking out right now. It was like so perfect and so human. And just, I think just being there for each other in that way. And I had another friend recently that posted something on Facebook, and she had lost a cousin that was very, very dear to her and very close to her. And a couple of people that she knew, one person made a comment and said, well, you're getting older, so, this is going to happen. I don't know if I'm saying it exactly right, but you basically know this is going to happen. So, you're getting older, so people are going to die. And then, another person said, well, that they're not suffering anymore, so they're better off. But there's sometimes when you just want somebody to sit with you and actually let you feel your pain because we have to experience those feelings. And if we push them down and we hide them, then they're going to come out in every other area of our life. There's going to be more and more examples that are going to be given to us to heal this until we actually are able to put it on the altar and really offer it up. And I've seen it happen time and time again. And this friend of mine, what she was writing, and it was so beautiful, she was just saying, I would have loved she actually talked about what she would have loved to have heard. I would have loved for my friend to have said, what did you love most about your cousin? What are you going to miss most about them? You know, what was it like to be with them? And she was saying that this cousin was like the last relative that really knew her dad and that she could share stories with about her dad. And that part felt like it was gone. So I remember right after my dad died, I remember saying to Lisa, and I remember actually, having a conversation with God about this, saying, his love for me, my dad, felt unconditional. He was my biggest cheerleader. I'm going to cry just thinking about it. I would call him on the phone and he would say, do you know that you are the mother of the millennium? It was to have that support and somebody that loves you no matter what. He used to call me Juju. That was his nickname. And I remember saying to Lisa, I don't know how I'm going to survive on this earth without that kind of love. But what she explained to me and what the Course tells me and what God is saying, or Jesus, is saying through the Course, is that love truly never dies, because everything that is in him, in the way that he reached people, the way that he touched people, is actually in me. Like, I'm so much like my dad. Like, I have a lot of the same mannerisms. My dad's funeral, there were 4 people from CVS Pharmacy at his funeral. I just remember a house full of people that I didn't even know. And 2 of them were like pharmacists from CVS. I said to my mom, there's CVS people here. And I walked into a CVS a few weeks after my dad died, and I went and talked to one of the pharmacists that was there. And I said, it meant so much to me that you came to my dad's funeral. And she said, you know what, Judy? I help people every day. I dispense medicine. I give them advice. I talk to them. But nobody ever really wants to know me. Nobody ever really has cared to know about my life, about my son, about who I am. And she said, your dad walked in here every day, and he saw me. He knew who I was, and he cared about who I was. And I just thought, I want to take the very best parts of him, and I want to. That's what lives on, right? Is that kind of love and that kind of joy. So I wanted to share that. And the other piece that I wanted to read from, is from this little wonderful green book, from Ken's book. And I just have 2 little short parts that I wanted to read in here. And it says, on being a teacher of kindness. We turn now to this subsection called the function of the teacher of God, which focuses on our function as advanced teachers of God. That is us, advanced teachers of God. Those who have already progressed far enough along the path that they, like Jesus, kindly represent the atonement to others. If the patient must change his mind in order to be healed, what does the teacher of God do? For the purpose of our discussion, we will regard the teacher of God as anyone in the presence of a person who is sick, upset, or troubled with problems. Can he change the patient's mind for him? Certainly not. And I think that that's what we try to do sometimes. I know I've tried to do it. I've tried to make it not so by something that I pull from the Course. And I don't have to do that. And it's a relief to really know that. And he says, your job is not to convince others that their sickness is a defense against the truth, nor is it to change people's minds so they understand that the world is a dream and they are its dreamers, dreaming of sickness, anger, and death. Just one more little part. For those already willing to change their minds, he has no function except to rejoice with them, for they have become teachers of God with him. He has, however, a more specific function for those who do not understand what healing is. These patients do not realize they have chosen sickness. On the contrary, they believe that sickness has chosen them.
nor are they open-minded on this point. The body tells them what to do, and they obey. They have no idea how insane this concept is. If they even suspected it, they would be healed. Yet they suspect nothing. To them, the separation is quite real. So what Ken is saying is, we may know the theory very well, that we are never upset for the reason we think. For instance, but Jesus is telling us that our function is not to change people's minds. We are not trying to convince them that A Course in Miracles is a better spiritual path than the one that they are following. Likewise, we are not trying to remind them, if they are Course students, what they have forgotten. This is our purpose. To them, those who are sick, God's teachers come to represent another choice which they had forgotten. Your only function is to be a reminder to others that they can make the same choice you did, not necessarily through our words, but through the love and peace that you demonstrate to them. And that to me is so easy. It's like I don't have to say a certain thing. I don't have to read a certain thing. I don't have to have any judgment about that person. I just have to be who I am in their presence and just love them. Just love them. And that is like, whew, that's relief. So the simple presence of a teacher of God is a reminder. His thoughts ask for the right question, what the patient has accepted as true. And I love that. And there's one other last little part that I wanted to read. And it says, remember you need nothing, but you have an endless store of loving gifts to give. But teach this lesson only to yourself. Your brother will not learn from it, from your words or from the judgments you have laid on him. You need not even speak a word to him. You cannot ask, what shall I say to him? And hear God's answer. Rather ask instead, help me to see this brother through the eyes of truth and not of judgment. And the help of God and all his angels will respond. And I just love that. That's really all that's needed. It's just really just being there and just asking for the right words to say. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a course scholar, even though I think they're amazing. But I had this woman come up to me in Las Vegas we were at the bookstore that we set up for the Teachers of God Foundation, and I was there with Gus, and she had been studying and teaching the course for 29 years. And I'm like, I picked up a flyer for the 40-day program. Like, have you heard about the 40-day program? Have you taken it? And she's like, I have been a teacher of A Course in Miracles for 29 years. I'm like, that's awesome. I said, we have had so many teachers take the program, and they understand the course, but they are really seeing these shifts that are going on in their lives because they're actually living it through the practical lessons that are taught during that 40-day program. And I said, and then they're taking it back. And she just was like, walked away, and I thought, well, it doesn't matter, right? I just got the biggest. They say always remember to laugh, right? So that I got the opportunity to share today, and I wish I had that memorized because it would have gone a little bit more smoothly, but I just wanted to make sure that I got it all in there. And I wanted to take a quick moment to thank somebody very special from my team, and I'm going to cry again, but Teresa is going to be leaving us soon because she's going to be a caretaker for her dad. You making this decision to take this time to be there for him, I know I said this to you, you will never regret one minute of it. And I just am so grateful for you, Teresa. An amazing, she is like, gosh, I just keep yes, we love you. She's just, I've never met anybody that has a brain like Therese Atkinson. I'm serious. Anything that you ever ask her, just she's like, yep, I know the answer to that, but did you think about this, and this, and what could happen if that? And I'm like, no. And then she has like she's got a whole sheet prepared of what to do if that happens. And she's made a video. Like, she's just the most amazing teacher, and I am so looking forward to hearing one of her talks. I know she's shared a couple of times in this group. I don't think it's recorded, but one of these days I know I'll be able to see her on live stream. But so grateful to you, Therese, for everything. So thank you, everybody. Everybody, I love you.
Oh my God. words. That was really smooth. And I have to say, when you read it again, the second part, I can never hear these words too often. Like I didn't realize you already read them again, and then you said, oh, I read this already, sorry. And I just love the way you express. And one of the things that we wanted also for this morning group and for everyone who's in any of our programs is to be yourself. That's what I love. It's really, people have such a weird idea of what it means to get Unity on the River. He has a brand new book out, which is amazing. It's called The Heart of A Course in Miracles. There's a few copies left Friday and at 3 o'clock. And he said many things that were just so amazing to me, but the part that I was just reminded of just now was I asked him about how he talks about God in a room, and I'm with them for 3 hours on God, and you give me a group of 5-year-olds. He said, well, first he said for 5-year-olds, the group of adults are for 3 hours going to talk concepts to me, and they're going to tell me everything that they know. And I'm Jewish, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I don't believe, and I had this upbringing, and I had this childhood, and I had this, and it often will go nowhere. But you get the 5-year-olds, you don't even have to use. Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to just feel as happy as you can feel. And I want you to just think of him, and I'm suddenly feeling like a 5-year-old. Like I'm so much joy in that moment, just accessing that direct experience. And that's what it's all about. Like on this day, right here and now, that we're all beginners. That no matter how far we think we've gone with the Course, how much we think we know it, it's this place. I love what's happening at the Teachers of God Foundation, and I find that it's happening because there is only one mind. So everyone who's teaching this message now, and thank you to all of you who are doing the groups and making yourself available to us. But what happened to me during 10 years was I completely disconnected from my one who quoted the Course in Miracles. It was conceptual. And I would have moments of recognize you've been studying for a long what path it is, and something's not working. Either it was working and now you're, and so for me, that transition when I moved back to New Hampshire, and I realized that I was very ethereal. It was like I kept sending the energy up. Like I kept trying to leave my body. I kept trying to say I'm not a body, and then I tried to dissolve my body. And like in a moment of honesty, and that's what it always takes. You know, I had no money. My relationships were like in a moment of honesty. You go, okay, I know the Course front to back isn't so good, and in that place, it's like that quiet place that Judy was talking about. Like, okay, I know nothing. Show me what I need to do now. And I realized I had to be in my body now. Like I had to really start bringing the energy down and I'm not a body right now. You know, this isn't what I am. I'm spirit, I'm light. This isn't me. And to finally embrace that, and then to just, you look like that picture in that beautiful picture I love so much. Love this guy. Where it's like, okay, how can I be with another person now? How does Jesus wanting us to heal and teach and love, like what is it? And, you know, in Living in Purpose, we invite people for 6 months to step into living A Course in Miracles. And of course, you can do it on your own. But there's something about where you make a commitment to it. It like becomes deliberate in your mind. Like I have this belief it has nothing to do with us, and it has nothing to do with that program called Living in Purpose. Even the 40-day program. It's when you make a deliberate, conscious decision that you were going to make a commitment to this. This is your intention. This is what you're going to focus on now. And then things begin to change. But in living in purpose, what we added, which I like, was what Judy was talking about, is where, what do you do when someone has cancer? Like, what's the actual practice that Jesus talks about in A Course in Miracles? And he describes it. Like, he tells you exactly what to do. Like, you acknowledge that Jesus is with you. You're quiet. You pause. You accept that this is my brother whom I love. I'm looking at a mirror of my own mind. It's not out there. You know, it's like that moment of stillness to remember, this is me. This is my thought. And then to take that moment now, so first the moment of connection. And the way I do it, in an instant. But if you're ever with me, you'll notice that I do this thing where I lock in. It's like it's, right? I don't. But it's just, it takes literally an instant, but I have this moment where I feel, I can call it my energy, I can call it my love, I can call it whatever. But it's this moment where there's a connection, there's a joining, where it's like I feel like a cord, maybe. Or like, and sometimes I feel it like wrapping, like around. So because healing is joining. That's what Jesus tells us. That's the kindness. Like, I'm going to join with you wherever you think you are, because that's what someone gave to me. In my depression, and my sadness, and my doubt, and my confusion, I have been blessed with teachers who didn't beat the shit out of me with course concepts. That they joined with me and reminded me of the truth. That they were the that's all Jesus did. Jesus is like a satellite in the world, broadcasting a channel of heaven. Like, he's in the world, but everything that came out of his mouth was only, the truth of the kingdom. So there's that, first that connection, and then the connection here. You're not planning what to say, you're listening. You're listening and saying, what do I do? And sometimes it's do nothing. There's nothing to do. And sometimes it's just put your hand. Like, there's always something that will come to me. There's always, sometimes it'll be to say a word, but you can never plan it, because you said it so beautifully, Judy, is that it's that kindness. Like, you have two rules that you basically said. I don't know if you're aware, but you said, be kind and give everything to the Holy Spirit. You could live your life like that. You open yourself up and say, okay, here I am, Lord. And you know that it's all in good hands. So it's very exciting to see you guys, like, doing this work, like all of you, and to hear the stories. And before we take a break, I have some awesome, exciting other news. Becky Johnson and Bonnie Kimball are going to be teaching next Friday. And I had to pull it out of them. They both had to sit on it. Like, we don't know what to say. Like, be yourself. So Bill and I are not going to be here. We're actually, it's my birthday, which is, if you guys did not get the memo, is the biggest holiday of the year. And so every year I like to do something fun for my birthday. And so this year I decided I want to go back to my old neighborhood in Prospect Park, Brooklyn. And I'm going to run in the park, and just Bill and I are going to go to some restaurants and that. So, but we invite you all to be here for these two lovely ladies who are just amazing. You guys on Facebook, you guys out there, can we put the camera on these? We got 2 minutes. Why don't you come up here so everyone can see you while I'm here? Come on. Now, you guys out there on Facebook, I know you know these two because they're extremely visible with the gratitude. So I want everyone to see these awesome, and a big round of applause.
I haven't done anything yet.
Awesome. So
Facebook's easy. You can do that in your jammies.
yeah, exactly.
Well, we can do this in our jam.
You could come in next Friday in your jammies.
Yeah, but you guys are prolific on Facebook.
But what they do is, I don't even know when it started, but it is an attitude of gratitude with these two. It is just total love, and this is a demonstration of A Course in Miracles. It's like they're just out there of positivity and just really being fully present. And I cannot tell you how happy I am that we live in the same neighborhood.
I am too.
Would one of you like to close in prayer? We have 1 minute. No. No. That would be you then.
I'm not very good at those.
You're perfect.
And we're your family.
Okay.
That's the Holy Spirit.
Okay. I usually pray alone and in quiet. So I want to thank the Holy Spirit for bringing Judy here today, safe and sound, her lovely talk and her words of wisdom, Lisa and Bill and every other mighty companion sitting here and out there on live stream.
You.
The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now. The peace of God is shining. God shining in me now. The peace of God shining in me now.